So we are going to do a one-off message today, and I'm going to talk about how to make good choices, how to make good choices, how to make good decisions in your life. And that's what it is, how to make good decisions. So we're going to talk a little bit about this today. Our initial verse is, I think they're kind of, is it okay, Ella? Okay, so our initial verse is yeah, it's right there. You see it? Welcome. Welcome. There you go, right there. So we go here. And if it seems evil to you to serve the Lord, choose for yourself this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your father served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my household, we will serve the Lord. A decision is every single day in which we get up, we have a choice. We have decisions in which that need to be made in our lives. You know, decisions over our lives. And today I want to talk a little bit about, as we make those decisions, what are the things that go inside of our mind? What are the things that get us to a place where those decisions are actually lived out, and we stand by those decisions? But not only do we stand by those decisions, but we also live out those decisions. Because it's one thing to make a decision, it's another thing to actually have to live that decision out. You understand what I'm saying? Like the day-to-day stuff. Like I made a decision to do A, but I didn't realize that me doing A would require B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, O, P. You know what I mean? It's like, but you have to understand that in order, because you made decision A comes with a B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. I make a decision to play football. Okay, well, do you realize that you just basically have made a decision to say that during your summer, Monday through Thursday, you're going to, Trey saying no. Monday through Thursday from 3 to 7, right? 3 to 7 or 2 to 7. What is it? 4 to 7. Man, I got to be at the school and I got to be practicing. You know what I'm saying? So like commitment is more, or the decision in which you make is more than just the decision you make in the moment. It's a decision that has streams, it has ruffles, it has waves in which it creates inside of our lives. And we have to understand, in order for us to live out the decisions that we make or the choices that we make, is that it's not just about the one choice, it's not about just the two choices, but it's about the continual process of living it out on a daily basis. You know, for you guys, what are some of the reasons why you make a particular choice or why you don't make a particular choice? That was a question. For you guys, let me repeat, for you guys, rewind. For you guys, when you make a choice, what is the reason why you make that choice or you don't make that choice? What? Depends on the choice, right? It does. That is part of it. But I think that for some of us, I think one of the reasons why is maybe the consequences. The consequence. We don't want to live with the consequences of that. You know, you talk about speeding. You're like, I know it says 70, or I know it says 55, but I want to go 80, 90. And so I go 80, 90 because that's a choice in which I'm making. But sometimes we don't make that choice. Why? Because we're like, I don't want to live with the okay. Nate just said, look to the sun, and no, he's not making that choice. but okay, so that's a great example. Trey, why would you not make that choice? Because you don't want to be pulled up, because of the consequences of it. Because of the consequences of it. And then why don't you want to get pulled over? Yeah, that could be a part of the equation too. to be real, that can be part of the equation too. We all know. We're all laughing, but then we know if a video shows up, all of us will be crying. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think that is part of the reality of it. So what is another reason why? You don't want to get in trouble with my parents. He didn't even talk about the ticket. I was going to go to the ticket, then the ticket to his parents. But he goes, I don't want to get in trouble with my parents. You know what I'm saying? You see the effect of it, the waves that come from the decisions and the choices in which we make. Every choice we make has a consequence. The choice you make to go to a particular school has the consequences that come with it, good and bad. You know, hopefully we all of us are kind of like, we want to see the good stuff of that. But we also know that there's certain schools, especially within our area, that if you go to that school, you automatically, basically, if it's on your resume, it don't matter what your grades were, you went there, and everyone's like, okay, cool, you're awesome and you're amazing. Why? Because the choice has led to a consequence. It has led to a ripple effect. It has led to a leading to a B, leading to a C, leading to a D, that there are consequences for in which the choices that we make. You know, so it's very interesting because I think many of us, I think we can say that a very low level of a choice is based on consequences. I don't want to do this, so I'm not do this, so I'm doing my life doing this, so I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But I want to encourage us not to live in the consequences, but I want to make sure that we're living in the motivation of why we do stuff. The reason why you do stuff should be the very thing that is beating inside of your heart. The reason why you want to live a better life is because you want to see A, B, C, D, E, F, G inside of your life. You know, when I talk to a lot of young men as they're trying to transition their lives from the decisions in which they made maybe when they were 13, 14, and now they find themselves at 18, 17, 18 years old, and they're stuck trying to live out their lives. What they're trying to figure out is, how can I get out of the covering or the choice in which I made when I was 13 or 14 years old, where now I'm in a system that defines by me who I am, says who I am on a daily basis, because they've removed my ability to make choices inside of my life. And as I talk to a lot of these young men, I tell them it's not the consequences that should drive you. It should not drive you to not do a certain thing because you don't want to be in the real prison. You shouldn't be driven by that, but you should be driven by the idea, what are the motivators inside of your life? And as you begin to talk to these young men, different people say it's different things. Some people say the motivation is the money, because I don't want to be without money. I don't want to be the person who like, and then I push them even further and I say money in itself cannot be your motivator, but what should be your motivator is what you can do with that money. With the life you can build for that money, with that money. And so I get them, pushing them a little bit further and getting them to think more about the motivation of why you're doing what you're doing. And I talked to one young man this week, he goes, I want to be able to have money so that I can buy the house, have the house, and I want all my family gatherings to be at my house. So what he's trying to do, is pushing past the money, because if the money is your only motivation, the moment that your money your money is inside your pocket and your pocket is full, you all of a sudden have no drive behind that. You all of a sudden you have the money, and then what do? You go, oh, cool, I'm awesome, I'm amazing. Oh, I don't need that extra shift anymore. Oh, I don't need that anymore. And so you know what I'm gonna do is, because my money's my pockets are fat. But then you go to the mall, you see something you like, you go online, you see something you like, and all of a sudden you're like, boom. $1,000 is gone because you just bought a pair of sneakers in which you wanted, because you've been waiting all your life to get, and so you all of a sudden have a quick gratification to get that very thing in which you want, and then all of a sudden your money begins to get low, and then at that point you go into crisis mode, because remember, your motivation is only the money. But when your motivation is something that is bigger than the money, and you understand that the money comes and the money goes, but you understand that my motivation is not just the money or the size of the WAP that I have. Is that what it's called? What do they call it? The WAP? I don't even made that up right now. That's the size of the money clip in which I'm holding inside right here. I just go to a word that I do know, okay, because I don't know if WAP is really the right word for me to say. Okay, cool. So we can keep on going. So I'm going to keep going. So is the size of the money in which I have inside my pocket is the very thing that is driving me, is that I have to understand that my motivation has to be right. The motivating thing, that the driving force, the gas inside of who I am has to be right. If it's not right, what happens? You get an engine that all of a sudden begins to mess up and starts doing the things it does. And what do they call it? Oh, I went to a gas station, I got bad gas. Many of us have bad gas, but many of us have bad gas inside of our lives because we have bad motivation. What should motivate us is not the very thing, but it's the very it's not the thing, but it is the thing, but it's not the thing that a lot of times we kind of put all of our energy towards. But what should be motivating us, like what is motivating this young man who I talked to, is the idea that I have a dream, he has a vision, he has a motivation that one day he's going to own a house that is big enough, not so that he can have all the parties that he wants to have, but so that he can specifically have family gatherings, so that he can create a nucleus for his family, for the next generation, that they can experience the same things that he experienced when he was 9 and 10 years old, of the family over here. There is a Hispanic family, so they would get the pig and they would put it in the ground and cook it, and all they would have come up and and they have home fresh tortillas. Grandma's back there making tortillas, homemade salsa, and then all of a sudden they go outside and all the young people are out there in front playing football and playing basketball but he just said football, so I didn't want to stereotype him, but soccer as well. But if he wants to have that type of home to where it is a safe place where people can be the people that God is calling them to be, and you have to understand that for you, what is the motivation behind what it is in which you want to do? Finances could be one, but what are the finances leading to? What are the finances accomplishing inside of your life? As I think more and more about these young men, then one of the other things they always say is that a motivation for them is a family member. And they say, a family, like one man in particular, he said that his motivation was his younger brother, because if you look throughout their history, the father had been to jail. The father actually, about 2 years ago, actually, was killed, and so his lifestyle led to a certain destination. Him as a young man, he's 18 years old, and he's at that turning point, trying to figure out, okay, do I keep going the direction that I go? And he goes, I see myself as doing that, but I also know something inside of me is telling me that it's not right. I know that something inside of me is telling me that it's not the right direction for my life. And then he looks at his younger brother, who's at least 10 years younger than him, and he goes, I don't want my younger brother to experience the things in which I've had to experience, or the things that I, in the direction in which my life is going. So I've got to have a motivation to change my behavior. And so as I change my behavior, what happens is that I set up my younger brother for success. I don't care too much about my life, but I understand that the fact that if I can set him up right, that maybe he can play in the league one day. Maybe he can play, in the NFL one day. And see, the thing is that some of us are like, oh my gosh, how many stereotypes, how many things that can happen, how many things, because the argument that is happening inside of our mind most of the time is about what can't happen. But I want to encourage us to not get motivated by what can't happen, but let's get motivated by what can happen. What is the possibilities? And if he doesn't get there, guess what? Most likely he's gone to a really good school. Most likely he's got the really good education in which he needed to further his life, so that his life does not end up like the life of his brother or the life of his father. And see, the thing is that what is the motivation behind what you do? Because the motivation will drive your choices. If your motivation's right, your choices will be right. If your motivation is right, your choices will be right. And the thing is that for me, I find this very, very difficult, because I feel like my mouth says one thing, sometimes even my behavior says one thing, but the greatest sabotager to my dreams are not you, but they're me. The greatest sabotage to your dreams are not anyone else, but they are you. They are whether or not you're willing to get up early in the morning. It's the willingness of whether or not you're wanting to make those extra phone calls. It's your willingness for you to want to fill out that extra application. It's you having the willingness to say that there is something bigger, there is something better than what I'm currently experiencing, and I'm going for it. The choices in which you make on a daily basis are the ones that indicate the success of your future. What does your future look like? Well, it makes me, I want it to look like this. I want it to look like that. I want it to do this. I want to accomplish that. I want to go here. I want to do this. I want to do that. All of us can lay out a whole bunch of things, but the thing is that are your choices lining up with those things? See, the first point of what I want to say, and I say it all the time, and I'm saying it really just kind of trying to give you like a really good introductory, probably for only JoJo and Trey. So really, I'm preaching to them too, but I'm preparing them for this mentoring thing that we're about to go into. You know what I'm saying? And this is the first thing. Good choices lead to more choices. Bad choices lead to less choices. In your life, what do you want to do? If you want to have good choices at your disposal, then you've got to make good choices, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today. Today, you've got to make good choices. Today, you have to make a decision to say, I am going to commit my life. I'm going to make the decisions in which I need to make today, because it opens up the ability for you to have more choices. See, the thing is that when you make a bad choice, all of a sudden your world gets smaller, 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 and smaller. And I don't even have to even go to the mentoring people who and I tell them this all the time because they complain about the food. Every single meal that they eat, I don't understand how they do it. I don't understand our county. I don't understand whoever's cooking up there in the Solano, juvenile detention center. I don't understand it all. But for some reason, Craig, beans are with every meal. Beans. They have corn dogs and beans. They have spaghetti and beans. They have lasagna and beans. They have burritos and beans, which somewhat still kind of goes together, but beans are in every single thing in which they eat. So every time I get, in there with a young person, I always say, hey, what is it that you've eaten today? And they tell me beans, 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 and more beans and more beans. This is what I tell them. I said, because of your bad choices, you're only eating beans tonight. I said, but today, I've made good choices, and guess where I can go eat today? Oh, Teddy, come on, man. Oh, that's not even fair. I said, well, my good choices have led me not to be behind these bars, and because I'm not behind these bars, I have the ability to eat wherever I can afford to eat at. I can go get a steak right now, and I start teasing them. I can go get a burrito. I can go, and Nate's like, oh, we want that. Oh, I can go because Chesso's right around the corner. I can go to Chesso. They're like, but you know what I find so shocking? How many of you here have eaten at Chesso? Chesso. You all of us have, right? You haven't eaten there? Okay, you have. All right, come on now. Have you eaten there? Oh, we got to go up there. Not today, but at some point we got to go up there and we got to eat, okay? It's good, right? But it cracks me up about how many of these young men who over the last 5 years who I've mentored, majority of them have never been there. Joe, some of them live a block away and have never eaten there before. You see how your choices give you more options? Which then gets me to the place, because I know that maybe what we eat is not as relevant to most of the people inside this thing, but let's also talk about our finances. When we make a bad choice financially, it limits what we can do for the next 6 months. How many of you guys been there? Hey, if you haven't been there, you just ain't got enough money yet, okay? Or you got enough sense. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like it has to do with us as well in regards when we make a good choice, we're like, dang, I set myself up for like a year now. I set myself up so I can take that trip. I've set myself up so that I can buy that car. I've set myself up so that we have a little bit more flow of money and then I can do. But see, good choices lead to more options. But bad choices limit the options and the abilities in which we make. You make a choice to have, okay, this, I don't know why this popped into my mind. Maybe it's just because of all the college students, okay, all the college and high school athletes, okay? So this is my thing. You make a choice to be in a relationship with someone. You make a choice to have a kid in that relationship. That makes your world completely smaller. Why? Because your world then revolves around the child versus right now the world revolves around you. What are the possibilities of what you're able to do? What's the possibilities of you able to do this? And you might not think this is true, but there are a lot of kids who have limited the potential of their parents by them being born, but it wasn't their choice, it was the kids' choice. And it's not it's not the kid's choice. It's the parents' choice. That's what I meant to say. I don't know which way I said it. I don't know if it came out my mind. It came out different. But I just want to be very clear, because it's not a thing of to say, oh, it's what, but it's this idea that, when you are trying to be the best that you cannot ignore what is in your hand. And we live inside of a generation that, because of the choices that they've made, what they try to say is, well, I still have a choice. No, you don't. No, you don't. Just because, well, I still have the freedom. Yes, you do have freedom, but your choices have just become a lot smaller, but yet you refuse to actually look at the right choices that are right there in front of you and say, this is I didn't choose this. Yes, you did choose it. You chose where you're at. You're laying in a bed, and guess what? You made the bed. You went out and picked out the comforter for it. You went out and picked out the sheets for it. You went out and got the mattress for it. You got a backboard for it. You have put all the pieces together, and yet you are right there stuck at that point. And this is what we see inside the text of what I just read today, is you got a dude who's Joshua, who's literally saying, okay, on that side of the river you did this. On this side of the river you're doing this. But guess what? Me and my household, we're making this choice over here. And many of us, what we need to do is understand that our past is on the other side of the river. The things that we were associated with leave us right where we're at, but even right where you're at, you still have a choice. Even in the midst of you having limited amount of choices, you still have a choice. You still have a choice whether or not you're going to trust God. You still have a choice of whether or not you're going to seek God and try to seek understanding for the issues and the things that you're going through and that you're battling with. All of us have a choice. Let me just tell you right now, being married is a choice. Loving your spouse is a choice. Sometimes a choice that you've got to make in the midst of someone honking their horn. But it's a choice. It's a choice. I got to love you through your mess. And most of the time, the mess that we're talking about is the mess that we've created, and we're trying to look through it, and we can't figure out if that's their mess or our mess. I heard someone mention it to I can't remember if it was Jake's or it was someone else. Oh no, it was a dude. I was listening to him. He went live last night talking about his sermons and do today. And what he was saying is that when he's talking about our mess, he was talking about shame, and he talks about doubt and fears, insecurity, our stuff in which that blurs and what. And he goes, what he does is he creates a pressure on us, and it creates such a pressure on us that it enables us to not be able to see life clearly. And when we can't see life clearly, the choices that we make can be devastating. There's a part of Oregon. I love Oregon. Oh my God, I love Oregon so much. Like I would move to Oregon and be one of 100 black people that are in the state of Oregon. Okay, it'd be like a half because I'm only really half, so it'd be like half. Okay, but Oregon is I love Oregon. I think Oregon is like Berkeley on like steroids. Really, that's what the core is. It's a little weird. Yeah, the coast is, yeah. But as you go even inward more, because I actually would want to be in Bend. So Bend is in the West name, but Bend's also very touristy and stuff. So it's even a little bit different than like other parts of Oregon that are very like country bumpkin country, Trump country. I mean, Jefferson County country, Jefferson State country. That's, if you know any of those terminologies, then you know exactly what I'm saying. But it's still good, you know what I'm saying? Because I've never had a bad experience being up there. I'm there, shop there, stayed there. I just love it. I love the weather too, because it's like this. It's not too hot, it's not too cold. It's just awesome. But there are parts, because of you have these mixing temperatures, where like there's parts of Oregon, like if you're doing at night, it's just straight fog. Like literally you cannot see, like if Trey was standing right there, I cannot see Trey. That's how, and I remember one time when we were driving up there to go through Washington, because you got to go through Oregon, and all of a sudden we got hit with this fog that just came through. Lasted maybe like 5 miles, maybe 10 miles. Okay, so it wasn't a long time, but it felt like forever. because I had to slow down. This is a one-way highway. I mean two-way highway. So it's like cars going here and literally like semis going here, and the only thing that separates us from staying on the road, on these curvy roads, is a line. Let me repeat that. A line. Not a barrier, a line, okay? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times what you have to do is that they have these reflective things, and so what you got to do is you got to look at the reflective thing, and you got to kind of like veer over the reflective thing. But remember, it's a highway going through like the country, and so like if you go veer off, you're in a ditch. I mean, there is no like cliff or anything like that, but it's a ditch, okay? You know, but so the choice is you have to make a choice in that moment. Do I slow down? Do I go to a crawl? But then your choice, you're thinking in your mind, if I do this, I'm just making my trip even longer. Like that's not gonna go through my mind. You know, I'm like, oh my God, it's just so gonna be so much longer. But at the end of the day, I have to go back to my motivation. What's my motivation? No. My motivation is my family who's in the car with me to protect them. I mean, I guess you're right, but whatever. Just like say people are wrong, just say that, you know. Because it's not just about getting there, but it's about understanding the reason why we're going there. So that my family can have great moments with their cousins. And then they wonder why I just disappeared, because my motivation is not for me to be there. My motivation is so that my family can be with their family. Mom's probably watching. Mom already knows. Mom and I have had this conversation before. I drive you up there so that you can spend time with your family. Because my motivation is for them to have a great time with their cousins. What is the motivating factor inside of your life? Because without the motivation, you'll complain the whole time. And I don't complain the whole time I'm up there. I just do me. Because I understand at the end of the day, the motivation is what the motivation is. What is the motivation of why you get up in the morning? What is the motivation to why you do what you do? What is the motivation for why my mom I just don't want to hear her mouth. That is not good enough. It really is not. Because at some point, when your mom calls you or your dad calls you, whoever that motivates, at some point you get to the point where it comes up on your phone, or you're going to get a special music she's going to get a special music that only is her music. And before you even look at it, it's going to be like this, red. Red. Then they're going to send you a text. It's going to go, and you're going to be like, well, yeah. See, the thing is, your motivation has to be more than just them, what they're telling you not to do. It has to be about where you're going. See, right now, you have, go to the next slide, because I don't remember what my things are. I think my timer went when it went off, so I got to go through these. Is opportunity equals risk? What was the second one? Choices have various levels. Is that this what I want you to understand? Your decision right now, you get a ticket, most likely, your parents will be like, hey, you know what, you can't drive the car for a month, or, we're going to need you to slow down, depending on what it is in the sense of all the levels of all that stuff. But that's probably your parents. You know what I'm saying? Your parents might go back to going to the extreme where they're like, okay, cool, we're going to pay for your ticket, but we want you to pay us back. Which we all know what that means. It's never really happening. You understand what I'm saying? There's level variances to this. But you're at college and you get a ticket. Guess who's paying for that? You got 2 kids and you get a ticket. Guess who's paying for that? You are. There's different levels to our choices. There's different levels to the consequence of which way. And the thing is that for the people who sit inside this room, and probably for the people that are all watching, all of us can make mistakes. And guess what? It'll just trip us up for a little bit. Because all of us are at that financial level of what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But this is what I tell the young people who I mentor, because a lot of them aren't at the financial situation that we're at. You know, they are on the street. I mean, they can pull out they can get 10 grand inside of a week faster than any of us can inside this room, because that's just what they do. But we're talking about in a sense of stability of anything, nothing at all. When they get in trouble, when there gets a little phone call, they get a ticket, guess what? The ticket just ain't gonna get paid, and they don't care. See, there's different levels to all this. You know, I put out a map, you know, and I didn't bring it, but sometimes I show this to the young people. If you're making $0 to $60,000 a year, this is what you get when you get in trouble. You get maybe a public defendant. You maybe can buy off a lawyer if you get closer to that 60. Let's say you're making $70,000 to $100,000 a year. You maybe can get an okay lawyer. Okay, you know, you go to 100. And you get up to $200,000 a year to maybe, you know, $300,000, $400,000 a year. You're going to get a pretty good lawyer, okay? You make $1 million plus a year, guess what kind of lawyer you're getting? Probably one of the best. So who do you think has a better chance for the same offense to getting off? The people with the money. Why? Because they have what I refer to as a safety net. What is the safety net that you've put on your life? What is the safety net you're putting on the lives of your kids? What is the safety net you're putting on the lives of the choices in which you make? Now, let me also let you know this, is that safety net needs to include God. Your wealth is not the only thing that's going to protect you. That's why I believe that within the last 50 to 100 years, that's why you have seen mobility, especially within the African-American community and the Hispanic community. Because in those two communities, the key element to everything has been Jesus. Why do you think, just trying to get political real quick, but why do you think most Hispanics after one generation end up being Republicans? Just because of the Jesus element. Because the values that line up with the Republican Party in that area gets them and pulls them in. Why? Because they get to a place where they've been able to develop and build wealth despite whatever circumstances that they face. How many of you guys seen the series The Sun? Anybody seen the series The Sun? If you want to know how Texas was built, you need to watch that show. But basically the show just takes you through like this whole thing, how things that people had stuff, it was taken from them. Someone had something, it was taken from them. Someone had something, something was taken from them. And the thing is that what we have to understand is that when we live in a society that is built on what you have, I want, and I'm taking from you at whatever cost, we've got to have something else on our side. It's better, and I'm telling you, it's not just guns, but we got to have God on our side, because at any time and at any moment, that spirit can come up within itself and someone will be like, I want what you have, and I'm going to take it. Because that is embedded inside of our culture. It is embedded inside of our society. It's embedded inside of there. And the thing is that if we cover our lives in prayer, you can try to take whatever you want to, but you're not fighting me. You're fighting my Father who's in heaven. And when you fight him, there are consequences. I remember that when my grandfather, who just passed away, he used to tell us a story. He used to laugh about it. Like, he would be like, you know, but he wasn't laughing at the people. He just was laughing because it was like, how good is God? But he had just gotten a promotion, was it, Craig? He had just gotten a promotion, so where he was the first, or, you know, I think I would probably say the first African-American having this promotion level at the DeYoung Museum, which is a very world-renowned museum. As security guard, he was one of the major guys making schedules on supervisors. And there was two other supervisors who were there who felt like he didn't deserve to be there. Not because of he couldn't do the job, but because of the color of his skin. And my grandfather prayed, because he would go to work, have to hear this. Have to go to work, they would, be, verbally abusive to him. This is in San Francisco, supposed to be liberal city, San Francisco. People discriminating against him. And I remember that he goes, I just kept taking it to God in prayer, just kept taking it to God in prayer. He goes, months later, both of these men passed away and died. And I don't want to say, it's because of prayer, he may send them to death. But at the same time, what I will tell you is that God's righteous shall never be forsaken. So don't live your life as though, oh, God, I'm out here by myself. I'm going to be forsaken. Oh, my goodness, I can't do this. I can't do that. No. Just go out there and try it. Just try out there and go out there and do it, because we have a safety net that is God. Give me the next slide, and then I'm going to end with this. And the next one. Think of the opportunity. Or opportunity equals risk. Is that, like I just talked about, you have to understand that opportunity leads to risk or equals risk. But let me also reverse this to you as well. Risk equals opportunity. Because I think the very thing that because all of us can sit up here and we could talk about all the things that our community needs. We know all the opportunity. But what scares us is, oh, my God, it's the risk. Oh, my God, are my kids going to be okay? Oh, my goodness, are people going to tease my kids? Oh, my goodness, are people going to pick on my kids? Oh, my goodness, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Oh, my goodness, I just can't do this. I don't understand. I just don't, we start working ourselves up. But we need to understand that risk equals opportunity, but opportunity also equals risk. Is that if it's an opportunity, there comes risk with it, but every risk has an opportunity. So I have an opportunity to grow. I have an opportunity to mature. I have an opportunity to expand. I have an opportunity to think differently. I have an opportunity, and you have to understand that the choices in which you make, there comes an opportunity, but you have to know that there's a risk that comes with that level of opportunity. There's a risk that, guess what, your kids might leave the house and never walk back in that door ever again. But what comes with that is opportunity. The opportunity for them to go to LA. The opportunity for them to go to Davis. The opportunity for them to go and do the things that God is calling them to do. The opportunity for them to go. The opportunity for them to go. The opportunity for them to go. The opportunity, every opportunity has a risk that is associated with it. When I watch these old movies, what was that other one? The one that you recommended to Genesis 18? Okay, 1883 is kind of similar to whatever, but I think The Son is better. Yes, I did. I watched the whole thing. I thought it was a good show. I thought it was a good show. It's okay. It's great. Okay, I don't know about great, but it's good. This is a good show. But as I watch, like these time period shows, it goes through my heart. Like my heart races. And it races because, and this is the reason why that show was good for me, because I get myself into it. Like I'm in the West. I'm a half black, half Mexican living in the West, okay? So, I get to, so I got having dreams about me having guns and shooting, you know what I'm saying? Like having to defend. And I keep, my mind goes through this whole thing of I got 3 girls, I got my wife, if that was me, I would show them all how to shoot. We be trying to kill, you know what I'm saying? I got to protect mine. Indians, got to get the Indians, you know what I'm saying? And then you got to tell them, if the Indians do attack, the Indians really don't want to kill you. The Indians just want to see how brave, or if you're a punk. Don't be a punk, okay? The Indians just want to know if you're a punk or not. You know what I'm saying? But you got to tell them, I'm not no punk. They scream at you, you got to scream back at them. You know what I'm saying? You just got to, and then when you have to deal with the white settlers that are racist, just act like you're crazy. Because if you act like you're crazy, they ain't going to touch you. They be like, oh, they crazy. Or you just yell out, I got smallpox. And everybody run it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I think. I get into that. But one of the things that's always you're unique when you watch those type of shows is that I'm always amazed by the risk that people were willing to do in order to try to create the life in which they thought they deserved. Where are those Christians at? Where are that inside of us? You know what I'm saying? Can we draw that inside of all of us? That no matter what, I'm willing to take major risk in order to reach the West. What we're living in now, people suffered to get to. Like they were, like what were those people? They were from Dutchland or from Germany. They were from somewhere, major persecution, no freedom at all, and they're willing to risk it all to travel through Indian country, to travel through bandit country, to risk their lives being totally, completely shattered and ruined. You know what I'm saying? Just so that they can get a plot of land and live out the rest of their lives. The opportunity always equals risk, but every risk there leads to an opportunity. Let's be people who, oh my goodness, who understand, hey, there's an opportunity here, but it's a lot of risk. But guess what? There's a lot of risk. But there's opportunity here. Opportunity. Let me not settle, but let me keep moving forward. Let me not settle for where I'm at, but let me keep moving forward. Let me not settle, but let me keep moving forward. Let me not give up, but let me keep moving forward. Let me not settle for what isn't, and let me just keep moving forward to what is the possibility of what can happen. I'm telling you right now, we live inside of a state which is so oxymoron to where we started off at as a state. We were all about this. Why? Because then it would lead to opportunity. But now we've gotten so soft as a state that we try to remove this from everything. Let's tax you. So like you have a whole bunch of money. But I'm still trying to figure out what they're doing with the road money. But the whole thing they're trying to remove is risk. When Ryan was telling me that when he had to take his doctor's thing, he had to pay like almost $2,000, was it, Craig, or something like that? It was a lot of money. Like a lot of money just doesn't make sense. Like these people are coming